Hello students, let us discuss the next part of the lesson, emerging political trends 1977 to 2000. So in the yesterday class we have discussed about the movements against the central government for more autonomy. So we have discussed about movements in Andhra Pradesh and Assam. Let us discuss the movements for autonomy in Punjab. So here also same problem. So there is a difference in language and religion of the dominant population became a point of mobilization. Okay, so according to those argument, states were being ignored in the distribution of funds and autonomy also. They also believed that the state had received an unfair bargain when it was created. So now also the states are feeling like that the GST, the share of GST, not getting properly from the central government. Okay, it laid claims to the new capital city of Chandigarh, which remained a union territory directly administered by the center. Already you know that the capital city is shared by two states. Okay, next that also under the central government. Okay, Punjab also claimed more water from Bakra Nangal Dam and greater recruitment of Sikhs in the army. Why they are demanding this? So they are having a border with Pakistan. They are suffering since independence because of unfairly relations with Pakistan. So Pakistan army start firing at any time. So that's why the Punjab, most the states who are having border with Pakistan are suffering. So that's why they are demanding greater recruitment of Sikhs in the army. Next, the Akali Dal had passed a set of resolutions in 1978 during the Janata Party rule in the center. Already you know that. So against the Indira Gandhi. So all the parties, opposition parties became united and won in the elections. So at the time, Congress governments were dismissed in number of states. So in 1978, Janata Party under Janata Party rule. So Akali Dal, one of the friendly party to Janata Party. So coalition party to Janata Party. So they passed a set of resolution in 1978. So calling upon the central government to implement them. Its most significant demand was to amend the constitution to give more powers to the states and ensure greater decentralization of powers, the resolution said. Already you know that our government is federal government. So what is the meaning of federal government? State and central governments. We are having state and central governments. So state government should work under the central government. All the organs or things are distributed between the state and central. So we are having three divisions. Okay, that is 1, 2, and 3. State list, central list, and conquered list. So on state list, the state government have right to frame laws. In central list, the central government have the right to frame the laws. In third list, okay. So both the governments are having right to frame the laws. Okay, like that. So the powers are distributed between state and central governments. But here the Punjab government demanded more powers to the states. Okay. Next, with the increasing electoral competition between the SAD and the Congress, things took a turn for the worse. So the dismissal of a Akali government and the return of the Congress in 1980 only added to already surcharged atmosphere and the feeling that the Sikhs were being discriminated against. So in the 1978, so Congress governments in 9 or 7 states were dismissed. So after regain the power, the Congress also dismissed the other governments in different states. So this also created conflicts between the Congress and Akali Dal. A series of untoward incidents followed, increasing the alienation, distance between the Sikhs and the central government. So Bindran Wale, the leader of the group of militant Sikhs, began to preach separatism and also demanded the formation of six-state Khalistan. So one militant group raised in the Punjab under the leadership of Brindanwale, they demanded separate state for Sikhs. So this was a period of intense turmoil in the state. The militants tried to impose an orthodox life code on all Sikhs and even non-Sikhs of Punjab. So this type of orthodox life we can see in the different countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, like that. So that type of ruling they imposed in the Punjab. So there was also a communal color to the conflict. People belonged to non-Sikh communities were subjected to communal attacks. All this finally culminated in the occupation of the Golden Temple by Sikh separatist groups, and the army had to intervene to vacate the premises. So this was seen as an act of discretion of the holiest shrine of the Sikhs and increased their alienation. So the Brindanwale occupied the Golden Temple. So he entered into Golden Temple. He started his activities from there only. So to vacate him, so the army people entered into the Golden Temple. Then the Sikhs were hurted. Okay. Next, a fallout of all this was the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in 1984. In return, the Sikh militants killed the Prime Minister of India, okay, in 1984. So this was followed by riots, especially in Delhi, in which thousands of Sikhs were attacked, murdered, and their properties destroyed. Not only Delhi, throughout the India. So so many Sikh people were killed. The administration seemed to do little to stop the violence. Next, after Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister, so he held talks with SAD and entered into an agreement with Sant Langoval, the SAD president. So, though fresh elections were held in Punjab and SAD won them, peace was short-lived. Why? Because so the Longwal was assassinated by the militants. So in April 1886, an assembly at the Akal Takht made a declaration for an independent state of Khalistan. So several groups claiming to be fighters for an independent state formed armed detachments and engaged in terrorist activities. So these terrorists create more terrific situation in the Punjab. So those are supported by the government of Pakistan. So this was decade of violence and conflict in Punjab. The period of insurgency saw clashes of the Sikh militants with the police as well as with other religious groups, journalists, politicians, artists, and activists who did not conform to militant approved behavior were killed. So they did derailing trains, exploding bombs in markets, so restaurants and other civilian areas between Delhi and Punjab. Even they kidnapped the people to collect the funds, to raise the funds for their work. All this gradually alienated them from the masses of the Punjabi people, including Sikhs. Over a period of time, effective police action broke down and the military, and as public sympathy declined rapidly, peace finally returned to Punjab by the end of the 1990. Okay, so however, the government used very harsh methods for the suppression of militancy in the Punjab, many of which were seen as violation of constitutional rights of citizens. Many observers felt that such violations of constitutional rights and human rights were justified as the constitutional machinery was on the edge of collapse due to militant activity. Even judges were afraid to passing a adverse judgment on the militants for fear of reprisals by them. So other observers felt that such use of extra constitutional powers by the state cannot be justified, and in the long run it would strengthen undemocratic tendencies in the polity. So like that, so many agitations and problems faced by the Punjab. Next, new initiatives in the Rajiv Gandhi era. So after assassination of Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi became the prime minister. In the next elections, Rajiv Gandhi won as prime minister. Okay. Next, he started peace initiative in Punjab, Assam and Mizoram, and also in the neighboring country of Sri Lanka. So at the time, so many agitations, militant activities were there in Sri Lanka. So India sent its army to maintain peace between the warring parties, separatist Tamils and Sinhalese government. So at the time, militant Prabhakaran was the leader of separatist Tamils. Okay, so but this turned out to be a misadventure, as it was not accepted by either the Tamils or the Sri Lankan government, and the force was finally withdrawn in 1989. That was the mistake done by the Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Okay. Next, Rajiv Gandhi realized that despite all the attention to development in the country, much of it did not reach the real beneficiaries. So, in a famous speech, Rajiv Gandhi said that out of every rupee spent on the poor, barely 15 paisa reaches them. So, in between, so remaining 85 paisa is looted by the officials by the bribing. Okay, so he decided to give the check power to the panchayatis only. So he tried to strengthen the Panchayati Raj institutions by giving the check power to them directly. Okay, that's why he sanctioned amounts directly to the panchayats. However, many state governments, especially those run by opposition parties, felt that it was an attempt to bypass them and reduce their powers. So in the economic sphere too, Rajiv Gandhi attempted to chart a different course. His government first budget in 1985 moved towards a more liberalized system by removing some of the checks and controls that were in place. He initiated that what is called the telecom revolution in India, which spread the network of telephonic communication in the country using satellite technology. Okay, next, rise of communalism and corruption in high places. So, after the partition of the country, there had been some attempt to keep religion away from the active and formal political sphere. This period, however, saw the emergence of new kind of political mobilization which had communal overtones. This use of religion for political purposes and the partition role of the government was going lead to distorts consequences which would raise question marks on the issue of national unity and integrity. So most of the political parties were supported by religion people at the time. So the Prime Minister's apology. So Dr. Manmohan Singh's statement in the Rajya Sabha. So for 4,000 people were killed in this great national tragedy that took place in 1984. So after the assassination of Indira Gandhi, so many 6 were killed throughout the India. So for that incident, so the Prime Minister said apology in Rajya Sabha. This should be an occasion for introspection, how working together as a united nation, we can find new pathways to ensure that such ghastly tragedies never again take place in our country. I have no hesitation in apologizing not only to the Sikh community but the whole Indian nation, because what took place in 1984 is the negation of the concept of nationhood and what is enshrined in our constitution. So I am not standing on any false prestige on behalf of our government, on behalf of the entire people of this country. I bow my head in shame that such a thing took place, but sir, there are ebbs, there are tides in the affairs of nations. The past is with us. We cannot rewrite the past, but as human beings, we have the willpower and we have the ability to write better future for all of us. So this was done in 11th August 2005. Okay, so in 1985, the Supreme Court passed judgment on a case filed by Shabana, who had been divorced by her husband, ordering that she should be paid maintenance by her ex-husband. So it is became the famous case, Shabana case in Muslim community. While the progressive Muslims welcomed the decision, so others, means Orthodox, protested against this judgment, saying that it went against Islamic law and that if this was allowed, then there may be further interference in the religious life of the community. So in return, so government passed the another act, so to satisfy the Orthodox sections, and enacted a new law in 1986 which let off Muslim husband and husbands permitted Muslim religion bodies to pay maintenance to divorced women for a short period of 3 months. That is called idat period. So after divorce, so husband may pay only for 3 months. So this was widely seen as compromising before religious orthodoxy and ignoring the interest of women of the community. So, on the another communal agitation, around the same time, some sections of the Hindus had begun to campaign for building a temple for Lord Rama in Ayodhya. Already, you know that Ayodhya case is settled last 2 months back. Okay, so in the place of the controversial construction, so Babri Masjid, they claimed that it was the birthplace of Lord Rama and it has been built by destroying the earlier temple. So the custodians of Babri Masjid denied this and claimed that this was a place of worship for Muslims. So this place had been under dispute for some time and the court had ordered it be kept closed except on one day in a year till the final decision was taken. So but in 1986 the court ordered that the mosque may be kept open on all days and allow Hindus to perform worship on a daily basis. So it was widely believed that this could happen only because the central governments approved of this decision. This opening of the temple helped those groups who wanted to convert the mosques into a temple to mobilize a large number of people. Next, to many observers, it appeared that the established political parties were losing popularity among the people. So, large number of popular movements were emerging over a number of issues under non-political leaderships. So, the large farmers producing for market were fighting for better prices for agriculture products and greater subsidy for inputs like diesel, fertilizers, and electricity. Farmers of UP and Haryana agitated under the leadership of Mahendra Singh Ticoit, while farmers of Maharashtra were fighting under the leadership of Sharad Joshi. So now also in Delhi, the farmers of Delhi, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh fighting against the new agricultural laws. Okay, since 15 days or 20 days. Okay, those are not resolved still now. In many states, movements of Adivasis and framers against displacement by development projects like dams and mines were also building up. The observers felt that this decline in popularity led the national political parties to pander to religious feelings in both Hindu and Muslim communities so as to retain their support in elections. They are using the religion in elections to get the power. Okay. So, however, it weakened the secular fabric of Indian polity and made way for a rise of communal politics on the following decade. Next, around the same time, so another agitation also started. Charges began to be levied against several leaders that they had directly or indirectly received bribes from the Swadeshi manufacturers of guns that were being supplied to the Indian army. That is called Bopper's gun scam. Bopper's gun scam. So that was highlighted by the PV Singh cabinet. The issue of corruption in administration and in political circles became the main plank of the election, campaigning for non-Congress political forces in the next elections held in 1989. So once the non-Congress parties, irrespective of their differences among themselves, got together, it became difficult for the Congress to win. Though Congress returned with the highest number of seats, but they don't have a majority seats to form the government on its own. So the first coalition government led by VP Singh, Janata Dal was formed. So in 1976, one coalition government was formed. Later, again in 1989, so another coalition government was formed and led by the VP Singh, Janata Dal. Okay, so like that, so many agitations were started in the country between 1977 and 2000. So we'll discuss next part of the lesson in the next class. Thank you.